This video is brought to you by G2A.com. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello everyone, Jack here, and today I'm bringing you some hands-on first impressions of the new Fighter Squadron game mode from Star Wars Battlefront. I'm sure you've all seen the Gamescom trailer by now. It's the footage in the background if you haven't, but I'm sure you'll get the gist. And this was actually playable at Gamescom. People queued up for several hours to get their hands on it. There was a beautiful AT-AT and TIE Fighter setup. It looked amazing. So what's the deal then? Well, Fighter Squadron is very similar to Air Superiority, a game mode from DICE that you might recognise from titles like BF 1943, Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, but of course now you're in the Star Wars universe. But does it have enough changes to make it interesting and unique? The main objective of the game mode is pretty simple: destroy more fighters than the enemy team. If your team reaches the maximum score limit of 200 kills when the time limit ends, your team will win. You'll be flying around in iconic X-Wings, A-Wings, TIE Fighters as well as TIE Interceptors, but you'll also get to fly epic hero ships that are none other than the Millennium Falcon for the Rebels, which was piloted by Han Solo and Chewie, or the Slave One for the Imperials, which was piloted by Jango and Boba Fett. The hero ships will grant better defensive and offensive capabilities, so having one on your team at any point for a few minutes could make a big difference. So how do you get to fly around in these hero ships? Well, around the map are power-ups, normal power-ups which we'll cover in a second, and special power-ups which will grant you a few minutes in the hero ships. They'll be located in tricky areas to reach, like underneath structures and between buildings that are hard to get to on the move, so it will take a little bit of skill when flying to be able to get the bonuses, but they will be worth it. By design, these hero ships are overpowered for the limited time that you get to use them. Other bonus pickups for the normal fighters include repair pickups and boosts to shorten the cooldown on rockets. Fighters also have special abilities depending on what side you're on. Imperial ships can generally get from A to B very fast with their speed boost, and the Rebels have a shield available for them to activate when they're in a spot of bother. Both sides also have evasive maneuvers to help shake off any fighter planes on their tail. These evasive maneuvers can also be used to dodge missiles. On PS4 and Xbox One, the aerial maneuvers are completed simply by pressing up, left or right on the D-pad, and on PC I believe it's going to be the F1 to F3 keys. Another extra for this game mode is transport ships, which are also travelling through the levels, and they're sort of a side objective. If I remember correctly, there's one for either team, and taking these transport ships down and or defending your own transport ship will give you bonus points, so expect a lot of the battle to circulate around these key points of interest. What if you're not great in aerial battles though, and you're worried that this game mode isn't going to be fun for you? Well, to ensure that the skies are always filled with the sounds of lasers, AI controlled ships will also join the battle, and this means that even the newest of pilots can help their team gain victory and feel awesome in the process. It also adds to the scale of the air battles, which already look pretty amazing. The total number of players in this game mode will be 10 versus 10, and each team gets 10 AI fighters on their side, so at any point in the game there could be a maximum of 40 fighters in the sky. It looks pretty busy and hectic, as you can see. Visually, the graphics and art looks amazing, I'm sure you'll agree. Explosions littering the sky as well as some awesome sound effects. DICE have really done a fantastic job to make it feel like a proper Star Wars air battle, but how does it play? Well, for me, it does have that initial wow factor. When you fly in as an X-Wing and the battle is raging in front, above and below you, you certainly get the Star Wars feels. The hairs on your arms stand up with excitement. It instantly fulfills that childhood fantasy of being a pilot in this universe. They've nailed that. But sadly, I personally can't see myself playing this game mode for longer than a couple of rounds. There isn't much depth here, and I much prefer the ground combat that Battlefront has to offer. Whilst I was playing, after I destroyed a couple of TIE fighters, it got very repetitive and boring for me personally, and I know that this isn't meant to be a staple game mode of Battlefront, but I feel like more could have been done to keep it interesting if it were available. I'd love to see more big cover to fly behind, underneath and above, in and out of, for example. The only time I've enjoyed the Air Superiority game mode for longer than 10 minutes was in Battlefield 1943, when you could fly through mountains, under rock arches, and it really made the dogfight exciting, more interesting, thoughtful and intense. I didn't get that same experience here, as most of the time the battles took place high up in the clouds, which is essentially a big open box. And as I've said in the past, I think how simple the flight mechanics are is detrimental to this game mode. I want to roll the ships manually so bad, but the controls don't allow me to do that. It kind of feels like you're flying a cursor around. And as far as I can tell, there's not a big enough indication of whether you're chasing an AI ship or a player controlled ship, and that information of course is going to be very useful for the player to know. So there we go, just some basic hands-on first impressions here. It looks incredible, no doubt about it, but there's not much replayability for me here, and maybe this game mode has been designed as a distraction for you to jump into occasionally. Something different to play when you're bored of the infantry game, but I am kind of sad that in its current state it hasn't been enhanced upon further. We'll see if any major changes come before launch. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one.